Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to Authentic Black Goddess TV. Excuse me. And also, thanks to those of you who are tuned in onto my other networks. So as you're coming in, please feel free to subscribe to the channels. If you have not done so, be sure you click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at QueenAShakur, also at divine_goddess_27, and on Twitter at dgoddess27. You can follow me on Clubhouse at Shakur, on Patreon at QueenAShakur. And I have a podcast, Low Frequency Hertz, HERTZ, but I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the podcast. So it's not up right now. I don't know what's going on with it, so I'll check into that later. Okay, so hello, my Aunt Egypt. Natalie, Dallas, Corey, Mika, Mary, Hiram, Howard, Brittany, Jeff, Amari, Ty, Marilyn, Lot Wizard, Zakia. Okay, Boss Naz, Kathy, Donnie. Thank you all for tuning back in. Mark. Katia is black in the house. Okay, Suda is black. Melanated. Keep it real, Cherokee. Rosalind, Pearly. Okay, so let's get back into it, people. Listen, now I was very dismayed, as you can imagine, when I heard this story yesterday about Lil Uzi Vert. Now, this is just sad in so many ways, people. Love you, Queen, and I love you right, Black Howard. This is just sad in so many ways. Not only is it ridiculous and obtuse, insidiously obtuse, no less, but let me just tell you why I was so dismayed when I saw this story. First of all, now I know Lil Uzi Vert is just a little demon running rampant. Clearly, he's lost to the world. He's lost all spirituality, anything of our spiritual nature. I'm sure he's already lost that long ago because I've seen many a demonic, devilish things that he's done, right? I mean, clearly, he worships Satan, in my opinion. He has to. I mean, after all, his name is Lil Uzi Vert. What does that sound like? Lucifer. Lil Uzi Vert? Who would name himself that? Clearly, he's calling himself Lucifer. Have you seen any of his shows? I've not gone to any, trust you. But I've seen the video footage where he lights the fires and all that stuff. A demonic being seems to have taken over him. This seems like someone who is under demonic possession. Let me tell you why this is so crazy and why I was so dismayed. For those of you who tune into my channel, Queen Amadaya TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye, those of you who tune into that channel, you know how I'm always talking about the third eye. How I'm always talking about the pineal gland and how that's how we get enlightened and it heightens our levels of consciousness. How that, I did a video just the other day, how the pineal gland can show you God. That is our connection to the Most High. This fool has cut off his connection to the Most High. Don't you think that his third eye is damaged? He wants one of those wannabes to attack him and dig that nugget out of his head. How foolish. Absolutely. Let me tell you something. First of all, for him to spend $24 million on a diamond and then have it pierced into his head, and then you tell people that it costs $24 million, doesn't he know that he's a walking target? Someone would literally cut his entire head off for that diamond. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? It does sound like Lucifer. Yes, that's what it is. Lose your words. Say it fast. Lucifer. Right? It's a play on the name Lucifer. Just like in the movie, if you saw the movie that came out in 80, I think it was 89, somewhere around there. That movie with Lisa Bonet and Robert De Niro called Angel Hearts. You remember the guy in the movie, Robert De Niro's name in the movie was Louis Cypher. And then most people didn't even catch on to the end of the movie that he was in fact the devil, Lucifer. That's the same thing he's doing. Lil Uzi Vert. Okay? And here's the thing, people. I want you to pay attention. The fact that he has done this to himself, and the fact that he's such an influential young person for many of the children, don't you think that other young people will want to do something so stupid? This could become a trend for all we know. You know how so many young people look up to celebrities and mimic the things that they do? This is to cut and sever your ties with the Most High. That's all this is. Who gave him this idea? Was it the demons who were clearly talking to him in his head? Likely so. Because those of you who watch the other channel also know that I told you that our consciousness, this is how we get other messages from different realms. The Most High communicates with us through our minds, our consciousness. But guess what? So do demons and devils. They communicate with us the same way. This is why people say they hear voices in their head. They're literally hearing these voices, and these voices have obviously told him, you don't need that third eye. What do you need with an ophthalmos? That's not going to do you any good. If you really want to come on over to the dark side, you need to get rid of that. Stop using that pineal gland. Put a big diamond in your forehead, and then everybody else will start doing the same. You'll start a trend. What a foolish way to spend your money. You know what other things he could have done with $24 million? Jason put an eyeball next to a diamond on the screen. Our consciousness, free your mind by freeing yourself of things that are not of the Most High. Absolutely. Hold on. Let me give you all some information. Let me just talk to you all about some of these things, right? Because this is so dismaying. I promise you. Now listen to this. I'm going to tell you why this is likely one of the biggest mistakes that he's ever made in his life. Okay? There's no coming back from this. Once you destroy your third eye, there's no coming back from that. When I saw the picture of that fool, I actually thought he'd been shot in the head. That first picture was so disgusting. Now listen to this, people. Erykah Badu, $100,000 house in the ghetto. Lord, you don't need to bless them no more. Hold on, let me put on my spectacles for this. Now listen to this. Signs your third eye is starting to see. Although it is now known as the pineal gland for enthusiasts of the paranormal throughout the centuries, it has been known as the third eye. The third eye is a great manifestation of psychic powers and deep spiritual insights. You may have experienced times when you felt that you could sense that something was about to occur days before it even happened. These instances can be overwhelming if you do not know how to make heads or tails of them. Yet you can still gain more knowledge to enrich your spiritual journey towards clarity, if you believe that your third eye might open. Now, here's the thing. The opening of the third eye gives you foresight. You might experience instances of increased foresight of future events. It might just be a small tug in your stomach that alarms you that something is going to happen before it does. Do not overlook this feeling or intuition. Let it guide you forward. It might be scary at first, but you come to realize that this gives you spiritual insight and heightens the levels of consciousness. You see, this is how we gain a strong connection with the spiritual realm, a stronger connection with the Most High. This is how we start to see who we really are, how we start finding out the truth. This is why they say people are woke. For those of you who didn't know why we call people that, we say you're woke because your third eye is open. Now, this poor fool So this Sambo just sat in the chair and paid $24 million just to have a diamond pierced in his forehead, and for what? Absolutely, Sylvia. Absolutely. But here's the thing. I'm sure that this is an agenda. You see, if they can get him to do it, then he can get other youth to do it. You see, they don't want a bunch of woke people walking around here. This is why people who are woke are called conspiracy theories. Okay? If you pay attention, the people who are accused of being conspiracy theorists, many a time they're absolutely correct. Look at William Cooper, one of the most infamous people, right? That they call a conspiracy theorist. But everything that he said in that book, Behold the Pale Horse, haven't those things all come to pass, including 9/11? Haven't those things all occurred? What about David Icke? They call David Icke a big conspiracy theorist. Hasn't many of the things that he said and predicted come to pass? Now, although some people say crazy, far-fetched things, and they clearly are just conspiracy theorists. But what I'm saying is, some people are so woke. They see so far into the future. They see so deep into the spiritual realm. They have such a strong spiritual connection to the Most High, to the universe, to higher levels of consciousness. They are clearly using their optic thalamus, the pineal gland. But people like Lil Uzi Vert, the fact that he's done all these demonic things that he's done, that I've seen him do, the fact that he's allowed himself to be used as a tool within the music industry, this is my opinion. The fact that he's sunken so low in his behaviors, his thoughts, his actions. He is a low vibrational being. A low vibrational being has no use of their pineal gland. So they could be easily persuaded, tricked, talked to, coerced, convinced to completely destroy it. What made him sit down and say, I know what I'm going to do. Today's a good day to go spend $24 million on an 11-carat diamond, a pink diamond, and just have it encrusted into my forehead. Who does he think he is? A black unicorn? What is wrong with him? What brought him to this lowly state? I'll tell you what, I'm glad you asked. Demons and devils. He is so far caught off into the demonic realm with these nefarious beings. They're clearly dictating his every move. Do y'all remember that day he was crying on a live on YouTube? Do you all remember that? The time that he was crying on his live. Janara says, not a unicorn queen. Yes. Do you all remember the video that he did, shedding tears, crying like a baby, no less, about his record contracts? You remember that, right? And who was it that helped him? Jay-Z, I think, that got him out of it. Let me tell you something. You know why he was crying? That was likely a very traumatic time in his life that he was experiencing. You know why he was having that time in his life? Because let me tell you something. I believe, this is my opinion, mind you. I believe that he is possessed by demons, not just one, but many demons. Because there's always more than one when they attack you. But there's 3 stages of demonic possession. And the first stage is oppression. That's why he was crying, if you ask me. That's why he was all upset. I mean, he looked like he was suicidal. You see, these wicked, nefarious entities, malevolent entities, they come to people and they start causing you oppression. They start whispering to you in your head, telling you everything's going wrong, making you feel hopeless and helpless, like this is the end, putting suicidal thoughts in your mind, making you paranoid, thinking everyone's turning against you. And I think that is why he was on a live stream crying his little eyes out. That was the first stage of his demonic possession, oppression. And then after that, the second stage is infestation. When you start seeing the demons and devils all around you, you see them in your sleep. You see them whenever you go somewhere. No one else can see them but you. Oh, but you can see them. You start hearing knockings in the wall. You start seeing things move around your residence. You start having all of these crazy urges. That's the second stage. And the last stage, which is what he's clearly in right now, if you ask me, is demonic possession. And that is, in fact, when the demon has taken full control over your being. And when a demon takes full control over your being, you know what it does? The first thing it does is it gets rid of your spirituality. Whatever little bits, whatever little piece that you had left, that demon is going to see to it that that is gone for good. You see, because a demon cannot dwell in a peaceful place. That's why they create pandemonium, meaning many demons. Pan meaning many, demonium, demon in the very word itself, as I told you. Many demons. He is likely possessed by many demons. And so he smiles and laughs and he brags that he's put a $24 million diamond in the midst of his optic thalamus. You know what this says to me? I hope, for his sake, that he's shining bright like a diamond to everyone looking at him. Because the one thing that will never shine bright, that will never be illuminated, is the lamp inside of his head, i.e., the optic thalamus. I told you, when the Kundalini energy hits you and rises up, touches the vagus nerve, and then rests on the optic thalamus, a light literally comes on inside your head. Your entire inside is illuminated. And that's when you wake up from the slumber and you've been enlightened. But that's not going to happen to him. He's destroyed the capability of his optic thalamus to ever open with that thing in his head. That is so sad. And you know what's even sadder is he doesn't even realize what he has done. That's what he doesn't realize. If thy eye be single, then thy body is full of light. The single eye, the third eye, which I call the first eye. He's destroyed it. He has no connection to the Most High. His spirituality has been severed. Now, those devils and demons that he so loves and likely worships and praises, in my opinion, let me say, they have full control, full reign over him. Now, all you need to do is just sit back and watch his behaviors from henceforth. There will be nothing good, I'm sure. He signed that contract in blood. Likely so. Likely so. Who would go to such a grave length? Right? Who does that? Do you realize that he could have gotten the same effect? All he would have had to do is go and buy some cubic zirconias, rhinestones, and glue them to his forehead. Why would he have something embedded in the midst of his forehead? Who does that? So sad. It is wickedness. Absolutely. That is nothing but wickedness. And you know what? You all saw the thumbnail. Doesn't he look like that character from Marvel called Vision? Is that the look he was going for? Because clearly that's the look he achieved. Everyone, let's get the lights up, please, while I look this up. Let's get the lights up, please. Like and share the video. Let me show you all this. That's him. That's what he looks like, people. That's the look that he apparently was going for. Now, with that all being said, let me tell you something. Someone said they wonder if he's a Mason. OMG, Satan has arrived in the flesh. Yes. 7 says a damn fool. Absolutely. Absolutely. He is beyond a fool, okay? Lil Uzi Vert, you that nigga, huh? Back on my shites. Here comes the zombies. It's also crazy. Like I said, this is something that could become a trend for many of these little young people who clearly don't know any better except to want to do, everything they see these celebrities out here doing. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, it says I'm screaming. Yes, it is beyond repair, right? USA, United States, America is done. Spiritually dead people are blindly by worldly things. Yes, blinded by worldly things. Yes, watching all those Marvel movies. Say his name fast and you get the answer, Lucifer. That's what I said. That's what I said. Yeah, absolutely. Lil Uzi Vert, Lucifer. Absolutely. Now, let me tell you something, people. He can't go back to his hood now because they will rob him for that head diamond. Of course they will. Let me tell you something. Does he not realize how dangerous this is? Somebody will clearly cut his entire head off. He will get decapitated over this diamond. He could. And then you're letting people know that it's a real diamond and that you paid $24 million for it. I hope he has security 24/7 wherever he goes. That fool Lil Uzi Vert took the mark of the beast. Huh, you think? Because clearly that's what they say in the Bible, right? It said they should wear the mark upon their foreheads, right? In thy right hand and upon their foreheads. Isn't that what it says? And that's what it looks like. Clearly demonic behavior, people. This is not normal, okay? This is absolutely not normal. And the fact that someone would willfully destroy their pineal gland. Anyway, let me move on. Let me move on, people. Everyone, let's get the likes up. Now, let's talk about these teachers, okay? Yeah, let's talk about these teachers real quick. Hold on. And I'm going to be talking about Kyle Rittenhouse next. I saw someone put that in the chat on my last video. Yeah, I already had planned to talk about that because clearly he's missing in action. The police can't find him. Matter of fact, that story about the teachers, I'm going to do that separate. Let's talk about LA Sheriff's Office to attend parole hearings after outrage over the Manson family case. And I'm not talking about Marilyn Manson. The Los Angeles County Sheriff said Wednesday that he'll authorize staff members to stand with victims' relatives at parole hearings to fill a void created by a new policy imposed by the county's newly elected district attorney. The announcement was made 3 days after NBC News reported that victims' family members were furious about District Attorney George Gascon's about his decision to oppose the parole or not to oppose the parole of Charles Manson follower, convicted murderer Bruce Davis. Now you see, this man is going up for parole, and they said they're not going to oppose it. And so the family members are clearly upset. Now they say it was part of a policy shift in which Los Angeles County prosecutors are now no longer attending parole hearings and will not oppose parole for any prisoner who has already served their mandatory minimum sentence. In a letter to Gascon, Sheriff Alex Villanueva said that he strongly believes that authorizing staff members to attend parole hearings is the right thing to do. He says, as you know, leaders will agree to disagree at times. However, we must continually work together to provide the best public safety possible and to advocate for the rights of victims. Villanueva referenced the Manson case in explaining why he disagrees with Gascon's new policy and will now let members of his office attend. When appropriate, they'll be able to attend virtual or in-person parole board hearings. He says having a blanket rule that says we're not going to go anymore, I don't think it's going to be a positive thing for representing the interests of victims at all. The DA has elected not to appear in these, and that is his prerogative for his agency. But however, we are not going to abandon victims of crime. We're going to stand with them shoulder to shoulder, and any help they need in the process, we're going to be there to represent them. Alex Bastian, a special advisor to Gascon, said the district attorney has directed the office's victims advocates to provide support during the parole hearings. He says they are available to attend any hearings where victims want them to be present. Sheriff's deputies, like prosecutors, do not have all of the pertinent facts and evaluations at their disposal. The parole board does, and its sole purpose is to objectively determine whether someone is suitable for release. Now, Manson, a California-based cult leader who died in prison in 2016, orchestrated a series of gruesome killings in August of 1969. The murders were carried out by his followers, members of the so-called Manson family. Now, following a virtual hearing on January the 22nd, the state parole board recommended parole for Davis, who was sentenced to life in prison for the killings of Gary Hillman and Donald Shorty Shea. California Governor Gavin Newsom is expected to deny Davis's early release. Hillman's cousin, Kay Martley, previously told NBC News that she felt abandoned by the prosecutors and says, I had no one to speak for me. Let me tell you something. They go on to say that on Wednesday, Martley said she was pleased by the sheriff's move in support of the victims, saying it showed that someone had attention or someone paid attention and gave us validity. He knows it's going to make his job a lot harder if they're going to let these people out without any challenge from prosecutors, she said. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, hey, Bangani, at the end of the day, let me tell you something. First of all, he should not even be up for parole. And in fact, Charles Manson and a couple of his other followers, they were given the death penalty originally. But due to them changing the death penalty laws in California, their sentences were commuted to life. That being said, he should not be getting parole. And do you all remember the heinousness of that story if you read about it? And let me tell you something that I was talking about to a friend just days ago. So ironic. Here's the thing. I find it very interesting that one of the people killed during the Manson family's murders, one of the people killed was Sharon Tate, the wife of film director Roland Polanski, the one that fled the country after he was accused of molesting a 13-year-old child or whatever. But nevertheless, he's still making movies, and the U.S. just gave him an Oscar in 2005. But anyway, I digress. But what I thought was interesting was Roland Polanski is the one who made the movie Rosemary's Baby. He directed that movie, right? Now, for those of you who saw that movie, you clearly know it's about a woman who, you know, had sex with the devil and gave birth to a child that was a demon, no less, the son of the devil. Here's what I thought was interesting, though. With the case of the murders of Sharon Tate and her friends, do you all remember, or do you even know that Sharon Tate was pregnant when she was killed? And she begged for the life of her baby. But when they killed her, do you know they cut the baby out of her womb? Now, is it just me, or does that sound like a ritual? Because I find it very interesting that her husband just conveniently happened to be out of town when all this happened. And he made the movie Rosemary's Baby about somebody who sold their soul for riches and fame. And they gave their wife to the devil to bear a child so that they could be famous. And then his wife gets killed by a cult, and they cut the baby out of her stomach and kill her and it. Isn't that a lot more than just a coincidence, it seems? I always thought that was very strange. What are the chances? I'm just saying. And here's another thing that's even stranger. Charles Manson, the one who gave the orders for these people to go out and kill, did you all know that he was trying to be a singer at one time in his life? And the house that Sharon Tate and Roland Polanski owned, he'd actually been to that house before. Because prior to them owning it, another man owned it, and he was in the music industry and was supposed to be helping Charles get a record deal. So he knew the entire layout of that house. Now, do you think that's just a coincidence as well? I'm just curious. It all seems ritualistic to me. But hey, what do I know? I mean, clearly, I'm being a conspiracy theorist, right? Okay? Also crazy. Also crazy. But anyway, a few years back, there was a spur of women having their unborn fetuses stolen. Really? I didn't hear about that. I'll have to look into that, Bungani. But I tell you what, Miss Natural Candy J says, and the plot thickens. Yes. Objective Wear says no such thing as a coincidence. Absolutely. So Vince I am says, Queen, you are right. Thank you. And a lot of people don't even know that. But see, I did thorough research on that years ago. Tony Curtis says the truth is now conspiracy. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But you know, in the Bible, it did say that in the end of times, truth would be the lie and lies would be the truth. And people will see things that are good as bad and things that were bad as good. This is the trick of the devil. Please pay attention. See, Lil Uzi Vert, Lucifer, he clearly thinks that it's a good thing that he's ruined his pineal gland. How unfortunate. How sad. Right? How very sad. Anyway, because he says Holly weird fool. Yes. Charles Manson was one crazy, sick, and twisted mayo. Oh, he was crazy, no less. So DB Truth says, preach, Queen. Thank you. With that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast because I have to come right back at 11 in just 10 minutes. And I'm going to be talking about, as I told you, Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, they let him bail out, right? And now they can't find him to serve him the papers that he needs. Where is Kyle? I'm wondering, right? I'm wondering, you know what? For all we know, after they told him in court not too long ago that he couldn't hang around any more wannabe white supremacists, he probably said, F this, that means I can't hang around my own self. So he left them in the wind, apparently, right? Miss Natural Candy J says Queen is on a roll. Thank you, beloved. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I would like to thank you all for tuning Black in once again to Authentic Black Goddess TV. Also to those of you tuned in on my other networks. I hope to see you all right Black in the chats in 9 minutes, right? So until then, those of you who have other things to do, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.